Gentlemen, lots of buffs and changes have happened in top tier, and we're going to discuss all of them in a tier list so that you would know which nation to go for and what to expect in terms of weaknesses and strengths of every single tank. Starting with the Fantastic Four, bro. Set V1 is the lightest one, Set V2 has the best utility, Set V3 has the best armor, and Trophy has Trophy. Abramses are just fast in general, 5-second reload. The way they turn in place is very comfortable. Reverse speed is also amazing. And talk about it being able to take pretty much any position in the map because of fantastic vertical guidance. You can punish pretty much every mistake that the enemy makes. And you can tank shots on top of that, not body shots though, but the turret shots are perfectly fine. You can be relatively safe and still punish enemies. It has absolutely fantastic shell. It's pretty close to DM53 at this moment. There are multi-purpose rounds for drones and helicopters, Browning machine guns for tracking dudes. Which of them is better? It more so depends on the player that you are personally. For most players, I would say that the best option would be Set V3 in most cases. For me personally, it's Set V2. There is a misconception that extra armor plates on Set V3 are just completely useless and it doesn't change anything. Those people flat out heard wrong information because weak spots in the turret got smaller compared to Set V1 and Set V2. Not only that, turret cannot get RNG checked anymore, where even STRV 122 with the most armored turret can get RNG checked at this point. The volumetric turret ring helps against BMPTs. It is much more difficult for them to penetrate Abrams, but all the other normal tanks don't care about it at all, by the way. Now, Set V2 has so many fantastic smokes, and in CAS heavy meta, it is so helpful. It just feels so good, bro. Other Abramses have only 3 pops of smokes, which is really bad, because you start saving smokes just in case, because maybe enemy didn't spot you and you don't smoke, and they did. Set V2 can just not take the risk to begin with, and it will still have insane amount of smokes left. It is amazing at multi-fights because you can just drown the entire map in smoke and just be fine with it. And it being 4 nades per pop just covers, the cover is so wide, it feels fantastic, bro. The biggest weakness of Set V2 is that you can overpressure it very easily, because the weak spots for overpressure are massive. How many people have overpressured me while playing Abrams? Absolute 0. So most probably you won't meet any tryhards that will overpressure you, but I personally overpressured quite a lot of them. And the Trophy HIV counters overpressure tech perfectly. The issue that Set V2 and Trophy have is these big thick antennas, which are easy to spot from a further distance, and that's the exact reason why this Set V2 got destroyed by me. And he was hella confused, by the way. Small antennas wouldn't even render from that distance, so any other tank would be absolutely fine. And on top of that, Trophy HV is the slowest of the Abramses with 22.8 horsepower, so it's either a good pick in advanced terrain against USSR because there's going to be plenty of BMPTs, but then there's Set V3, which counters them perfectly anyways, so it's a little bit better as a second pick when there's a lot of helicopters. Set V2 is Merkava without the biggest 2 weaknesses, which is absolute crazy. And Trophy can save you from overpressure attacks, so which is awesome, but it's much slower. The T90M Arena. This tank is the bane of new players. They think it's the strongest tank in the game for reasons that are quite valid. In some cases, it can be frustrating to deal with, especially because it has great armor and very small weak spots that are pretty difficult to hit. And once you hit those weak spots or you catch T90M from the side, there's this fantastic era pack and overlapping spall liners that your APFSDS has to go through. It basically nulls all the spall entirely. So basically, there's quite a good chance that you will deal no damage or very little damage, especially if the player doesn't know where to aim when shooting at T90M. Experienced players look at the T90M as a very limited and predictable vehicle, which is not that difficult to deal with. There are 3 huge reasons why. Lack of reverse speed, especially in aggressive positions like this one. You can see the enemies, you just can't get there in time to destroy them. So you will miss on quite a couple frags, which in some cases might be a massive game changer in terms of battle. Also, not having the ability to roll behind cover quickly means that it's much easier to trade you, and most of the time you're just gonna get hit and you will have to repair. While most other tanks can evade that thing completely. Pretty mad vertical guidance paired with bad reverse speed means that you can't readjust your position as quickly as you would like to. And the longest reload means that if you trade bounces with the enemy, which will happen pretty frequently, they win. So you can easily predict T90M players because they will not be able to peek you on steep angles. They either gonna commit with pressing W key or they just gonna stand there and stare. So in most maps, you can easily outplay T90M because of all the limitations that it has, but city maps completely eliminates one of the biggest weaknesses, which is vertical guidance. And if you're playing it correctly, as in your check positions like this, while staying further away from cover so that you could drive behind cover by pressing W key, instead of doing this where you just get killed, then on flat maps, the T90M becomes a fantastic vehicle. You will get stuck in positions like this, which is a little bit annoying, but that won't happen all the time. And Arena M saved me so many times from helicopters, it was just absolutely crazy. That thing ate 5 ATGMs like it was nothing. Honestly, I don't even know if it should work like this, but I mean, I was absolutely fine with it. So it is fantastic for flat maps, but it is very limited in terms of like uneven terrain and bumpy maps. So it goes to top of A tier for flat maps, extremely scary, but give it a few hillsides and it goes to B tier right over here. So the Swedish STRVs used to be the absolute S tier, mostly because reload rate was absolutely fine, and it had insane survivability to the point that you would win fights purely because of how survivable it was. All I can say, it got nerfed a lot, but did it ruin the tank? A year ago, if you would get hit in the ammo, there would be a solid chance that your ammo rack wouldn't explode, saving the entire tank. Now, it's pretty much a guarantee that the ammo explodes if it gets hit. The turret basket got added as well, where this steel fence is a crucial part of a horizontal drive, which is, you know, a little bit, it looks cool, but gameplay-wise, it just absolutely sucks. And on top of that, these gunner sights now take 15 to 10 seconds to repair, and they get damaged by literally everything. So that's what STRV got, while other nations got buffed by them. Also, by getting moved up in battle rating, it faces less vehicles that are lower battle rating, against which it performed the absolute best. But it still has a 6-second reload. The armor itself can still hold its own. There's spall liners everywhere, except for the part which is extremely vulnerable and is protecting 3 crew members. Now that's crazy. And if you take 16 shells, you will increase survivability by a little bit, as there will be no ammo in the hull. The thing that helped me boost survivability a lot is turning away the turret to the right after every shot. Because if you look directly at the enemy and the enemy shoots you at this spot right over here, there's a good chance that they will ammo rack you. And turning away your turret to the right turns away the ammo rack from the APFSDS shot. With all that said, there's these backup vehicles now that use very weak APFSDS or heat shells, and the STRV just refuses to die to them, bro. I mean, it has some sort of ego against it, bro. To the point that dude literally started texting me, asking me to J out, bro, because he just couldn't kill me, which was extremely fun. So sometimes the survivability is still S tier, completely amazing. Having 4 pops of smoke isn't the best because in CAS heavy meta, that's just not enough. But still, the STRV is pretty damn mobile for the amount of armor that it carries. It can easily force out a mistake from the enemy and then punish them successfully with fantastic vertical guidance and pretty damn good mobility. It is god tier at defense, especially from long distance fights. It is so difficult to kill a good STRV player. It's still a very good solid tank, bro. The meta has changed quite a little bit. People learn stuff, but at the end of the day, it's still one of the top dogs in the game. It still stays at S tier, but barely, because the lack of utility at this day and age is it's very significant. Leclerc. I finally learned how to say it, bro. Took me 2 tier lists, bro. The thing with Leclerc is most people think that the first version is the best version because it is the lightest one while having highest horsepower per ton ratio in the entire rank 8, which makes it insanely mobile. But even though it's true if we compare it to the Azure version, which has this extra explosive reactive armor, which helps with pretty much nothing, to be honest with you. It has a laser warning system, which is pretty cool. If we compare it to the 21st century model, there's quite a few cool things to consider. First of all, 21st century model has actually more armor in the turret. There are these 2 extra plates of armor on both cheeks, and this extra thick thing can tank any top tier shell in the game. These extra plates add a chance for BVM at not penetrating you, and it has commander thermals while only having 4.3% less horsepower per ton than the S1. The extra armor isn't something crazy significant, but it does add a tiny bit of chance to eat a shot and be fine with it. And that's very important because as soon as something hits the Leclerc, it just pops like a balloon. I mean, absolutely 0 survivability, so evading shots is your main priority, which is pretty unfortunate because the tank can be really good. 5-second reload, great aiming speed, good shells, but that huge ammo rack is placed right behind the paper turret, and on top of that, Mantlet itself is just, it's massive, juicy, easy to hit target, so it just makes it very easy to destroy Frenchie. And the hull armor doesn't help either. There is a small plate that can stop shells. It's just the whole armor is yellow in general. There's a chance on paper to tank a shot, but it doesn't really happen all that often in practice. And the most important thing about the Leclerc, it has the best smoke nades in the game, but only 2 pops of them. And in top tier, you'll need smokes to survive cast, you'll need smokes to pass, smokes to repair, multiple smokes to reposition and fall back. 2 pops of smoke is just not enough at all. So yeah, it's a pretty big negative. No ESS, no LWS, at least on most of them. You pop smoke to defend yourself from cast, and that's it. Your utility is completely gone. And at this day and age, that is very bad. It's still very good because of mobility, good reload speed, aiming speed is fantastic, but it can get 50 cal from the back. Not that anyone does that, but what does happen is artillery strikes, and artillery strikes usually deal quite a bit of damage. They can disable your autoloader, transmission, radiator, and just extra repairs for no reason. It's pretty damn bad. It might get annoying. It can still be a fantastic tank if the sky is clear and you know what you're doing, but the chances of that happening is, you know. I think we can agree on A or B for 13.0 cast. Give it at least 4 pops of smoke, it goes to A tier right away, but with 2 smokes, it's borderline B tier, but reload speed and vertical guidance and mobility carries it up to A tier, so it stays at A tier. The Merkava 4M. I was surprised by how well it performed at this day and age. Since BMPTs are very popular, it just counters them perfectly because of that trophy HIV hard kill protection system, which sometimes helps against helicopters and overpressure as well. 5-second reload paired with the ability to go backwards just as fast as you can go forwards, and crazy amount of smokes. It just allows you to survive some crazy situations and multi-fights. Sometimes survivability is just, I shit you not, Craghead level unstoppable. But sometimes it just decides to just randomly die. That's it. Body shots do usually end in 1 shot, but if you play hull down, there's a pretty good chance that you will survive a shot. Not saying that you can't get 1 shot over there, but the turret itself is very bloated, armor is very random, and this gunner right over here is sitting pretty damn low and people forget about it. So sometimes Spall just might not reach him. The biggest issue with Merkava is that it has trash vertical guidance. On paper, it doesn't look that bad, but the taller the tank, the worse vertical guidance feels. As in this example, if we just make the tank taller, you can't aim at the enemy anymore. But if you just make the tank shorter by having the exact same vertical guidance, you can already hit the target. So Merkava being this tall, it makes it really awkward sometimes. But being this tall sometimes gets you to use some non-standard positions, which are pretty cool sometimes. The Merkava, apart from APS, it also has ESS and LWS. I mean, it literally has everything apart from vertical guidance and reliable armor. I would love to place it at S tier, but I can't. But why not? It has the highest global kill death ratio. There are quite a lot of noobs that still play with it as their first ever nation pick, and they do pretty damn well with it. But having bad vertical guidance means that you will have to overcommit to get frags sometimes, which is pretty damn bad. And it will lock away you from certain very powerful positions which are very heavily vertical guidance dependent, which is, or it will just make them very awkward to use. That is very important, and it has 15% slower aiming speed than every other tank basically. And it lacks armor, it really does. And it's still a fantastic vehicle. It goes to A tier, very strong A tier tank. The Leo 2A7V and the Hungarian Leo 2A7AU. Both are the same, except that the Hungarian one has a Browning machine gun, and it doesn't even count as a weak spot extension anymore, which is absolutely fantastic for overpressure. So if you want the best made in Germany Leopard in the game, you gotta go to Italy Tech Tree and unlock the Hungarian Leopard. Best shell in the game, great aiming speed, great vertical guidance, great armor. This thing has great spall liners just like the STRV 122. Turning your turret to the right helps you to evade ammo rag hits. It's pretty much the same case with the Swedish STRV, 22.6 horsepower per ton and 22.2 horsepower per ton. It's pretty much on the same level as Merkava, but 6-second reload at this day and age isn't that very special anymore. When you're multi-fighting multiple opponents, you either want to be really fast with a lot of smokes or have amazing reload speed and damage. And Leo doesn't have amazing reload speed, but it does have quite a few smokes and it can go backwards pretty damn fast. Third basket nerf massively impacted Leo because it was usually playing off you get hit, but you can trade the shot, and you can take the shot, but the enemy can't. Not really the case anymore because your third drive will be gone, and in most cases you won't be able to return fire anymore. Leo still have just the craziest survivability. It's just not a guarantee that it will work the way it used to. In a good team where guys trade you and have your back, it is absolute S tier. But let's be honest, how frequently do you get teammates that actually trade you? You get them once in your entire life, and you will remember them for the rest of your life. Usually we just die alone, bro. That's how it is. And to live alone as a good player, you want to be fast and have a great reload speed. 17 miles per hour backwards, which is like 28 kilometers per hour. 6 pops of smoke, which is 50% more than the STRV, but the STRV is a little bit faster and it has a little bit more armor. However, Leopards have smaller overpressure weak spots, especially the German one, which is very important, but I never got overpressured in those tanks because I just never met a single player that would try to overpressure me with ATGMs. So I don't know if it's much of a bonus, but it was a bonus against me for sure. Both Hungarian and German Leos are absolutely fantastic. I like the Hungarian more because it has a fantastic 50 cal and a great damaging shell. Both still go to S tier. They're absolutely fantastic vehicles. T80 BVMer. First of all, reload speed got increased by a little bit, 6.4 seconds instead of 6.5 for the 3BM60 shell, which is equal to German Leos with expert crew. But if you're using 3BM42-2 shell, which is just a little bit worse than 3BM60, it gives you like around 6% less penetration, practically changes nothing, but increases your reload speed by 6%. And that means if you trade shots with Leos and they don't have aces, you win. Unless they are ace, then it's equal. Still, 6-second reload is an amazing buff for T80 BVM. What about survivability? It's not bad, to be honest with you. Right side is very strong because these 2 overlayered fuel tanks, that's similar to having 2 spall liners overlayered, which in turn is extremely effective at reducing damage. And explosive reactive armor on the sides reduces the spall and damage even further, so sometimes this happens where penetration deals extremely little spall or no spall at all. The combination of era and fuel tanks is just the best combo in the game. The BVMer is mobile, fast, and aggressive. It has good armor with relatively small weak spots. Just pixel-wise, if you check the surface area of the BVMer, you can already tell that it's pretty damn good compared to other tanks. And the longer the distance and the faster you move, the more difficult it gets to hit those weak spots. Top aiming speed. The thing is, the BVMer is fantastic at being aggressive, but if you are the one getting pushed, you'll notice that reverse speed is not getting you out of there as quickly as you would want to. You do have 4 pops of smoke and DSS, which can help you win multi-fights. It's pretty good to fake out the guys from time to time. ATGMs are fantastic and a must-have for T80 BVMer because they will allow you to win certain fights that you couldn't win before. So yeah, ATGMs are extremely important for T80 BVM. The only issue is vertical guidance. It's not good at all, but other strengths compensate for it so hard, and in flat maps, it's just absolutely godlike tank. It was fantastic before, and now it's a little bit more fantastic. S tier it is. Gentlemen, your support is absolutely insane, by the way. The Discord boost, the memberships, the Chad donos. I just want to say massive thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would never expect this, by the way. This was absolutely crazy for me. You literally bought me this, bro. Like, how crazy is that? Thank you for all the support, gentlemen. I just wanted to throw it out there. I had to get it off my chest. You're freaking amazing. You guys are S tier. Just saying. Just saying. The VT4A1, it got buffed quite a bit. The main issue I pointed out last time is that, I mean, it used to have an average lifespan of a crayon in the hands of a toddler. Now, since all these spall liners got added, it's a little bit better. It's not a crazy game changer or anything like that. It's not a T90M. Slow reload speed is annoying. It's 6.7 seconds. So if you bounce, you pretty much die most of the time. And the gun mantlet is pretty easy to hit, but these cheeks on the sides can take a shot pretty damn well. Sometimes upper front plate can take a shot as well, but it's very unreliable. If enemy has 2 functional brain cells, they're just gonna go for easy to hit weak spots, and it's gonna be the reps. On the right side, there's active protection system, which perfectly counters BMPT rush. Not only that, it counters threats like heat shells, ATGMs, and stuff like that. So, not very common, but it's still very nice to have, especially later in the match where it does become pretty damn common. Even though I personally absolutely love this thing, the T80 BVM itself has much better armor, greater mobility, a much faster reload speed of 6 seconds. They buffed it to the point it's mid. It definitely goes from old D tier up to B tier. It's very easy to kill, but it's still a pretty damn solid tank right now. The ZDZ99A and WZ1001 with 27.3 horsepower per ton. That's crazy. Paired with the highest top speed in the game, it makes them fantastic contenders for Tokyo Drift. But do they have a place in War Thunder? Gaijin, what the f is that? China never cuts corners. Never cuts corners. There has to be explosive reactive armor right over there. Bro, even the turret armor, what? It ends way too early. Like, what is that? That's a massive, easy to hit weak spot right over there. But to be fair, explosive reactive armor is the highest quality explosive reactive armor in the entire game you've ever seen in your entire life. You go to check T90M and you see that they just bought it from China. What is the difference between these two? ZDZ99A has better reload speed and better survivability, while WZ1001 has better penetration with muzzle velocity and the best drifting potential in the entire game, which makes it really fun. They have fantastic speed, godlike mobility, laser warning system, ESS, 5 pops a smoker, amazing ATGMs that allow you to win fights against hidden opponents or against tanks like Abrams, which are extremely dangerous, counters BMPTs and so on. Also, you have high explosive shells with radio fuse, plus you have IRST tracker. The Merkava and the T90M also have those things, which helps you to take out drones or helicopters. The thing is, if you lock a helicopter for just a brief second, shoot it and unlock it right away. You just got to do it as fast as possible and they might ignore that you locked them before. And this way you can just snipe a helicopter from a pretty damn long distance. You just love to see it, bro. They are in top 3 most beautiful tanks for me. I can feel the credit, social credit going up like crazy right now. We pumping those numbers, like, you know what I'm saying? But the longest reload speed with just absolutely no survivability at all is just a massive, easy to hit weak spots and really bad vertical guidance. On certain maps, they are so good, they're so fun. But if you'll be playing with these tanks, you'll just never get those maps to begin with. So B tier for both of them, they are 12.3 for a reason. I was just pulling up the 13.0, so absolutely unfair comparison. But Type 10 and TKXer. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think these are fantastic tanks. 4-second reload already makes them a fantastic tank for multi-fights. Worst case scenario, everyone else has a 25% longer reload speed than you have. That is a lot, and you don't even need aces. You getting pushed by multiple opponents? Your reverse speed is just as fast as your speed forwards. That is so good. You can just run away from like crazy positions. For solo players, this is easily S tier tank, bro. You have good amount of smokes, LWS, 27 horsepower per ton, bro. And on top of that, you have the best turn rate in the game. So even though aiming speed is the slowest of having like 30 degrees per second, your hull turns so well that by assisting your turret with the hull, you most of the time will still out aim the enemies. The hull assist for aiming has to be in your blood, bro. The fact that I could control a 4-player rush with 1 tank alone is just, it just already makes it in the top distance. I honestly couldn't name any other tank that could do it as easily as the Type 10. Vertical guidance, it's mid until you start playing with suspension. By just adjusting suspension, you can take positions that nobody ever expected someone could take. Unplayable positions and angles are now available, bro, which gives you an insane surprise factor, which is just awesome. And you will be forced to use that suspension control, because if you don't, you're just throwing away one of the biggest strengths this tank has. This tank is easy to use, and the more skilled you get, the massively better it gets. Obviously, pretty much no armor, but sometimes it lives. And because the ammo basket is much more compact, I found that I could push the survivability of Type 10 above Leclerc's. But still, mistakes usually end in one-shots, but still, there is a chance to live. And you have 4 pops of smokes, which is not a lot, but you know. But you have a laser warning system, which is nice. Easy to use, great at multi-fights. This is my favorite tank by far. For solo players, which are just 90% of all of you, we can just agree that it goes to S tier and just, you know. Oplot-M from Thailand. It is slower, wider BVM. It has the worst vertical guidance in top tier and the worst vertical aiming speed in top tier as well. There is a very popular misconception that Oplot-M has its turret in the front, giving it extra vertical guidance, so it's pretty much the same as BVM. That is just simply not the case, and enemies can just sometimes upper front plate you. It's just, you know, which is not gonna happen to BVM. And it has 3 smokes, which are fantastic smokes, but it's definitely not enough, especially for the amount of armor that this thing has. You do have the Soviet double layered fuel tanks, which helps, and explosive reactive armor, which doesn't stop shells, but it does reduce their damage a little bit. What the Oplot-M has over the BDM is a little bit better shell for a guaranteed 6-second reload, and a much better reverse speed and laser warning system. But Oplot-M is very reliant on maps. It is fantastic on city maps because the biggest two weaknesses that this tank has get completely eliminated. But on other maps, the amount of positions that you can't take anymore because of the horrible vertical guidance, that is a lot of good and aggressive spots that you just can't take anymore. Small rock is more than enough to get your cannon lifting up in the sky, bro, which is very damn frustrating. You're fighting your tank more than the enemy in some cases. It forces you to overcommit, and when you do overcommit, it doesn't have enough armor to back you up. ATGMs are a lifesaver for this thing because you can counter Terminators from very safe positions, and you can just piss off people in general, which is really, really fun. But why are MBTs so important? It's because you can also overpressure the Oplot-M, which is hitting these rubber spots with ATGM. That is very unfortunate. That makes it very easy to one-shot. In city maps, it is high A tier because you're not worried about vertical guidance at all. But on rough, bumpy maps, it's just like, it's definitely goes to D tier because of all the limitations that it has, and it's very easy to outplay it if you know what you're doing. It's a 12.3 after all, so I think it did pretty good. The Ariete, 27.8 horsepower per ton. Oh my god, bro. Like, bro, it got buffed like crazy to the point that I really love playing this thing now. It is basically a glass cannon, but a really damn good one. It has the second highest horsepower per ton ratio out of all rank A tanks, which makes it just extremely mobile while also having a DM53 shell with a 5-second reload, I might add. Even in the worst case scenario with stock crew, Ariete has 6.5 second reload, while Leo 2A7s have a 7.8 second reload with that same DM53 shell. Oh, by the way, they added spoil liners to it as well, which is pretty nice, and it got armor increase a little bit so that 2S38 couldn't penetrate your front plate. But as always, there's a catch. The Ariete pretty much has absolutely no armor, which means that enemies don't even need to think when shooting at you. There's another interesting thing as well. You know when you can just one-shot Leos by hitting their gun mantlet and just hitting their ammo rack like this? Ariete doesn't hold ammo in the turret, which in a hold-down position is pretty damn good for survivability. But whenever you get to leave your position and your fragile body gets exposed, all of a sudden all that ammo rack in the hull becomes a really big problem because everybody shoots you there, and no matter what, it's a guaranteed one-shot spot. So in certain flat maps, it's not very comfortable, but the fantastic mobility can help you evade some of the shots. Reverse speed is also fantastic, by the way. I would really love to place it at S tier, but that would just be my bias, bro. But the vertical guidance is so good. It's a fantastic glass cannon with DM53 shell, but just no armor at all. Last time when I ranked it, it was one of the worst vehicles in the game. Now it is easily A tier. It needs a little bit of armor to slow down the opponents, and then it would be easily S tier, bro. The Black Knight. 5 pops of 4 smoke nades all around you, bro. Plus LWS, plus best active hard kill protection system, Iron Fister, 5-second reload. It sounds like just god tier tank until you notice that it doesn't move at all. Max speed is the slowest in the top tier, 20 horsepower per ton, and one of the slowest aiming speeds as well, which is very unfortunate because that means that it sucks at close range. However, it is the absolute king at long range fights. And honestly, it confuses the shit out of the enemies, bro. Because they shoot you with APFSDS from a long range and it just disappears, bro. It is the best feeling in the game. You basically have the best armor in the entire game for 4 shots. That is if the distance is long enough, which is about 800 yards, which would be like 730 meters, more or less, depending on the velocity of the enemy shell. Obviously, because the tank itself is very rare, everybody will be lasering you as your teammates will be lasering you, which gets very boring after a few matches. So you start lasering them back just to piss them off as well, the way they do. This is just a troll tank where you just always manage to confuse enemies. However, it punishes aggressive gameplay by just nerfing your reload speed. Basically, Black Knight is forcing you to be slow, passive, and as far away from enemies as you possibly can be. Because in that scenario, it shines like crazy and it's just a fantastic vehicle. But there's a lot of small and close range maps in this game, and for those maps, the Black Knight is just not perfect for those cases at all. Your top shell is just a little bit better than the stock shell of the T80 BBM. Plus, it doesn't turn at all, but it does have a pretty damn good reverse speed, so let me be a little bit biased because this is one of my most favorite tanks. It is absolutely undeniably for long range S tier, bro. I want to give it S tier somehow, bro. Like, it's just, and it makes sense. They have to shoot you 5 times to deal damage to you from long range. How crazy is that, bro? But in general, for city maps, close range maps, it goes to B tier. You know, it can stand its own because it has fantastic utility, but it's not enough. You need speed. The Challenger 2E. Imagine having the same Black Knight without the amazing APS Iron Fister system, without laser warning system, worse reverse speed, and the same aiming speed. All that for 4 extra horsepower per ton and better top speed going forwards. That's literally it. No better armor, nothing. What a disappointment, bro. There are plenty of 12.0 vehicles which are better than Chally 2E. It can still get its own frags, but it's just a disappointment that the top British tank is just... That's why they have Aussie Abrams now. Still, 5-second reload speed and vertical guidance plus decent mobility, plus a little bit of armor on the turret, so it does allow it to make a few plays here and there. It has more smokes than the STRV. I think it's B tier, bro. Geigen made that there are no shitter tanks in top tier anymore, and there are no massive underperformers. I would love to place Chally 2E in D tier, but it's because of my feelings, bro. Because it's definitely not worse than VT4A1 or ZDZ99A, and you can beat S tier tanks with Chally 2E pretty reliably, but it's just the chances are a little bit lower. But I just can't place it pretty high because it punishes aggression so much by nerfing your reload speed, when Abrams can be as aggressive as it wants for the entire match. Maybe I am biased, but I don't think I am. It goes to B tier. I'm placing it at B tier, not because it's that bad, but more so because it's a massive disappointment, bro. Like, you expect so much after the Black Knight. It's not. And the last, but definitely not least, the Indonesian Leo 2RI. The first thing that I thought about it shouldn't be as good as it feels. Why does it feel so good? It's upgraded Leo 2A4. But in all honesty, it has the mobility similar to Abrams. It's pretty damn fast. 8 pops of smoke is very good. You have enough for everything most of the time. Other positives, the M53 shell for a 6-second reload, fantastic thermals, great vertical guidance. It can even take a shot with a hull. Not every tank can do that. Obviously, it's not very common, but it does happen, especially when guessing through smoke. It has armor on the left side of the turret. The only massive negative that it has, where it could be S tier, but why it's not, it's because of that same armor. The right side has these gunner optics, which are absolutely horrible. Everything can go through them. And on top of that, this gun mallet is absolutely massive. It's very, very easy to hit. When I was fighting against it, it was trying to peek me through the right side, its weakest side, and I was just laughing, bro. I was just shooting it straight at the turret like an idiot, and I would get his gunner and commander right away. He just couldn't do anything by trying to be aggressive. That's one of the reasons why Leo 2 is considered meh. The weak spots are big enough that they make armor irrelevant in most cases. Unless you're peeking with your left side, then it's pretty good. I definitely found it better than Leclerc. Both have armor, kind of, sometimes. But one has better reload speed, but the other one has plenty of smokes. Ariete has reload speed, laser warning system, smokes, better vertical guidance, so it can't be higher, and Spallheimer, so it can be higher than Ariete. I still think it's more than fair if it goes to A tier, because it is a pretty universal tank. It's fast. At least it is pretty good in the right hands. Obviously, the placements can be changed according to which type of player you personally are. This is more based for solo players that value utility, speed, and DPM overall, and have 2 functional brain cells. For a single cell organism which values armor above all, like, it definitely would be different. Let me know how you would place these tanks. Thank you for watching, gentlemen. I'll see you next time.